Hello, today is February 23rd, 2019. Last call looked for higher prices. Target was 27.80.85. It printed and there was resistance under the target. We also said that this should be the high of the leg or pretty close to it. We said ideal confirmation would be promptly taking out this low or stopping right at this line. Well, neither one of those things happened. Usually when I don't get what I want, it's obvious before the open, gapped over the line. We still haven't gone that much beyond this price. I think this price or close to it is an area of strong resistance. And I'm going to stick with it for now, but if it's going to work, it should work pretty soon, and we shouldn't really go a heck of a lot higher than where we are now. If it doesn't work, it'll probably fail in grand style. Monday's pattern's the one with the early low. Doesn't mean it won't gap up first. Here's the MEJT signal from Friday. It said this rally was false, price would retrace, and they did. This is a pattern which almost always closes at the day's high. This one didn't, but Monday's open is a surrogate for today's close. So even though it isn't good when you gap up at a higher high and can't close over it, particularly when with 5 minutes left to trade, you're under all these highs. It's not good. All that negativity goes away if we gap and promptly take out this high. Based on statistics, it'll probably happen 80% of the time. Now, if we don't take out this high early, the call is pretty easy. Lower prices should print and probably much lower prices. If we do take it out early, it depends by how much, because we're still in an area of strong resistance. And the longer we wait to reverse here, and the higher we go without reversing, the more likely it is that my call isn't going to work. No call is going to work every time. Now, this is the DeMark signals. Again, these haven't worked during the bull market very well, but we're not in the bull market anymore. We have 8 bars of setup. Monday should be bar 9. So we should get a 9, 13, 9 sequential sell signal. These are more powerful when they work than the regular 9, 13 signals. And bar 9 can finish early. So we're going to get, unless we drop down sharply, we're going to get a strong DeMark sell signal on Monday. That doesn't mean it'll work, but the signal will be there. Weekends, when we generally talk about the long-term trend, I think the long-term count's pretty clear up to the end of this 5 waves up. You've got your 1, 2, 3, ABC, 4, and your 5. And we think that's over. Now, we have targets for the drop. I think when the bull market is this long, both in time and price, it would be reasonable to have a correction comparable in size and magnitude to the rally. What's happened since this high isn't all that clear. Now, I have different targets. I took the high, multiplied by 0.618, got 1817.48. Set this is the midpoint from that to the target. It seems to work. So we have a number of patterns targeting the 1800s at some point, not anytime soon, I would add. But just because that target works doesn't mean it's the only target that works. This drop so far looks like a 3-wave pattern down. It's not clear if this wave's over. And if this is an expanded flat, if that's what it is, B could even go over this high. So this count doesn't rule out new highs printing, even if we're still in a correct wave. We do have strong resistance right at this high. You can take these 2 points from the A of wave 2. You'll see how this trend line has some delightful hits right there. And then if you take the midpoint of A, connect it to the end of C, you'll see how we hit the same thing. So we have trend line resistance right at the high. Ideally, if you're going to break through, you want to gap over it. And if we don't, you get suspicious that it's going to probably hold. I'm really not happy with any of the counts I have. This is a rising wedge, which is what I'm calling it. It's a negative pattern. When you break convincingly, now we'll have to go under this low. If that happens, I mean, usually you retest the origin of the wedge. I mean, that's a pretty big drop. We haven't broken it yet. And even though we have some things that work, if instead we break convincingly over the top, the whole pattern falls apart. So this is kind of a critical area, kind of fish or cut, because if we can't drop here, with all the evidence we have, if we break through in grand style, I can't rule out new highs. So we're at a critical junction. Call's easy if we don't take out this high. You're in for a drop. If we do take out the high, and it's not by much, I still think we're in an area of strong resistance. But the longer we take to drop, and the higher we go, if either one of those things happen, the more suspicious I am that the call for a top at this price or in this area might not work. So let's see what happens Monday, and that's today's call.